Credit unions offer a full range of financial services, just as Canada's chartered banks do. Unlike the banks, though, credit unions are owned by their members. These institutions play an important role, particularly in smaller or more remote communities where the big banks are reluctant to establish branches. As the nonpartisan independent auditor of the Legislative Assembly, the Auditor General audits the government reporting entity. This consists of ministries, crown corporations, and other government organizations such as universities, colleges, school districts, health authorities, and similar organizations that are controlled by or accountable to the provincial government. As of June 30th, 2013, there was over $50 billion in insured deposits held by almost 1.9 million members of the 43 credit unions in British Columbia. Government regulates and supervises the credit unions in BC and administers the Deposit Insurance Fund. There is no limit on the amount that is insured. The previous limit of $100,000 was removed as part of government's response to the global financial crisis in 2008. There are 4 main participants in our report. The Financial Institutions Commission, otherwise known as FICOM, is part of the Ministry of Finance. The regulation and supervision of credit unions is just one of its responsibilities. Other areas, for example, being real estate, mortgage brokers, and pension plans. In our report, FICOM's external oversight panel is referred to as the Commission. The Commission is only involved in the regulation of financial institutions, including credit unions, trust companies, and insurance companies, and is not involved with FICOM's other areas of responsibility. The Credit Union Insurance Corporation of BC, or CUDIC, administers the Deposit Insurance Fund. We undertook this audit to determine whether the method and extent of the supervision of the province's credit unions are appropriate. We looked at whether FICOM has an effective credit union monitoring program, if the Deposit Insurance Fund is adequate to cover a significant credit union failure, and if there is a full plan to ensure that payments from the insurance fund can be made to depositors promptly should a credit union fail. Although international industry standards were developed mainly for regulators of the big banks, the majority of the standards are applicable to BC's supervision of credit unions. FICOM has progressed as far as it can in adopting some of these standards within the existing legislation. For example, the standards require that the responsibilities, objectives, and powers of the monitoring authority and the operational independence and accountability of the supervisor, which is FICOM in BC, are prescribed in legislation. The current legislation reflects a primary compliance-based approach as opposed to the principal and risk-based monitoring approach. As well, although the Commission has overall regulatory oversight, FICOM is part of the Ministry of Finance's operations. It is required to follow government's financial policies and procedures and adhere to government's human resource management policies and framework. Industry standards recommend having a limit on the amount of an account balance that is insured. The limit should be set so that most depositors are fully covered and ensure that a significant portion of the total deposits are not fully covered. In BC, there is no limit on the amount insured. With the mandatory review of the legislation in 2014, government has an opportunity to determine whether and to what extent it wants to fully adopt the industry standards. We recommended that the Ministry of Finance consider the industry standards when they do this review. At the time of our audit, FICOM had 25 staff vacancies, approximately 35% of the positions in their Financial Institutions Division. Last summer, it posted 17 of these positions. By the end of our audit, it had been unable to fill any of them. Supervisory work, such as on-site reviews, has been scaled back. FICOM completed only 7 of the 17 planned credit union reviews for 2012-13, and for 2013-14, the initial 16 planned reviews have been scaled back to 3. On-site reviews are important for determining the composite risk rating, a risk factor that is determined for each credit union, which allows FICOM to focus its monitoring efforts on those credit unions that need it most. At this rate, it will take 3 years to complete on-site reviews for the 10 largest credit unions and over 14 years to do all of them. In addition, the team responsible for monitoring credit unions does not have all of the expertise and competencies it needs. FICOM has been using contractors to fill some of these areas, but this is only a temporary solution. There is no worldwide standard as to the optimal balance for a deposit insurance fund. Guidance is under development. In BC, the target fund size was set in 2008 by a recommendation from an actuary. In late 2013, an actuary was once again engaged to review the target fund size. However, FICOM and the Commission should review the fund size annually in light of changing economic conditions such as interest rates and growth of credit union deposits. Similar to any other emergency preparedness scenario, a plan is needed ahead of time so the people involved know what to do if a credit union should ever fail. A plan is in the works, and we have recommended that an agreed-to date be set for its completion. As well, to comply with industry standards and be transparent for depositors, the public must be regularly informed about the benefits and limitations of the deposit insurance system. Given that there are 11 recommendations in the report, please see the summary of recommendations on page 3 and 4 of the report for the complete list. In summary, the report makes 2 recommendations to the Ministry of Finance and 3 to FICOM to improve the effectiveness of the credit union monitoring program. As well, 3 recommendations are made to the Commission concerning the insurance fund and 3 concerning a plan for making payments. This concludes our summary of this report. To read this report and our other publications, or for more information about our office, please visit our website at www.bcauditor.com. The Office of the Auditor General encourages your feedback on this report, as well as your suggestions for further audits. We look forward to hearing from you.